Hi there, everybody. This is Forrest with Alphabet presenting Tech News Today. We have a few different fun subjects that we think you're really going to enjoy, and just to provide a little bit of a high-level overview before we dive into it, we have a subject dealing with British schools and how some of their laptops came preloaded with some malware. We have an idea about how RDP is now being used with DDoS attacks. A little bit of shady activity as well from the security service provider, ADT, which is known for many of their home security solutions. And as well, we have a little bit of a fun one, I think, for most of our US-based viewers in terms of how military intelligence is really being gathered and how they know where you are. So let's dive right into it. So again, the first one here that we really want to touch on is the laptops given to the British schools. So, the first thing that we really know is that this was an isolated event, so only 23,000 computers out of all that were ordered were infected with malware, basically a worm that allowed a remote access. As well, it doesn't appear that it was widespread throughout the environment. So luckily, they were able to contain it basically as soon as it turned on. So we can do that, through various endpoint solutions, be it through CrowdStrike, McAfee, EPO, Sophos, Cisco AMP, whatever it may be. For endpoint solutions, we can really start to quarantine and block those hashes from running, as well as wiping out those machines. The most concerning thing, though, is that, this did happen. It was 23,000 computers again, running Windows 10 and made by the Tactus group. Overall, I wouldn't really say that it is something that is an immediate red flag. Even as I mentioned, the Department of Education over in Britain, 77,000 units have shipped so far, with several thousand to go. So it's not as if it was the entire batch. However, there was clearly something wrong if 23,000 of those did have that worm detected and the rest of them did not. As of right now, the manufacturer, or reseller rather, XMA, had no comment really to give, but they did get a pretty hefty contract from the Department of Education through it. The big thing that is going on right now is the Department for Education is investigating. They're trying to make sure that it really isn't widespread, that it's not having any lateral movement that can get across the network or anything of that sort. So it's currently being monitored, and it was just updated on the 22nd of January. So right now, I would expect to see a little bit more as to what's to come from this, and to see where exactly that malware came into place. So that's really the British schools and their laptop issue in a nutshell. So that's just something to be aware of what's going on in the world today. So from outside of that, we then have the Microsoft RDP and how it's being used for DDoS attacks. So from there, a little bit about DDoS is that it's a distributed denial of service. So basically, you can think of having multiple different endpoints being hit over and over and over and over again with traffic that's intended to clog it up. So, and it's coming from multiple different endpoints at that point. So you're having a widespread amount of machines really go through and just hit this nonstop. So the big thing that they're finding with RDP is because of the full packet size and the longer sequence, it's actually being a pretty nice payload to go ahead and hit for any DDoS attacks, because it really just bombards all that traffic and clogs it up so well. So currently, we're seeing attacks ranging from 20 Gbps all the way to 750. So that's a pretty significant one. And right now, there's a lot of talk about how they're going to be trying to resolve that and how they can really just try to make a solution there, because again, there are 33,000 RDP servers on the internet that can be abused. So it's not really one of the greatest aspects on it. Right now, they're recommending that RDP servers be really only accessible over VPN services. But unfortunately, best practice doesn't always go there. We saw that with the SolarWinds and with the FireEye issue. So it's going to be interesting to see if we start seeing a lot more of those attack vectors now that it's known. But just something to keep an eye out for. So from there, this is a fun one that I really enjoyed. ADT. So ADT is one of the leading home security vendors in the United States. So basically what that means is if your home is detected to have been broken into or has any security cameras that aren't managed by you, ADT probably is playing a part into it. The only issue is this is where ethics are very important into who you're hiring and what certifications and really the whole spectrum of cybersecurity. So one of the ADT security technicians had decided that he was going to abuse his role. What that means is that he had access to hundreds or thousands of customer accounts. And so he was able to get into their home surveillance cameras to spy on people. He had actually made a list for himself of women that he thought were attractive and would spy on them during their personal time. And unfortunately, this was a huge, huge breach of ethics and breach of just everything decent about what you expect. And, this isn't just something to say, just go get your own cameras, because we already know those can be hacked as well. It's important to really know what you're putting into your home and really understand what can happen if you have something opened up to the internet. And not only that, but even if, for instance, you have a reputable company like ADT, that sometimes, unfortunately, individuals working for them might not have the most upstanding ethical standards, and something like this, unfortunately, can happen. Luckily, the gentleman that did this did plead guilty. He's facing a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, and he's likely not going to be getting rehired into anything IT, in my opinion, because that's a major breach of ethics, and that does not look good for any company. So, that actually just was broken here by Sarah Coble on the 22nd. And the last one I think is pretty cool is how the military intelligence and government agencies are still getting your location. So just a little bit of background here. The Supreme Court held up that the government needs an actual search warrant to get an individual cell site location data. That was back in 2018, and since then it's been held up. So what the government did to get a little bit crafty is they said, okay, well, we won't be the ones collecting it. So what they did is create a market, basically, that is now a collection of cell site location data being sold to the government to be able to get your data. And they're purchasing it from all these various vendors that are really collecting it, and there's no legality that's really standing or any form of wrongdoing there, because you as an individual are giving your data to, let's say, an app, and that app provider is collecting that all and then selling it to the government. And because you're actively giving that and the government is just simply purchasing it from that provider, they don't need a warrant. And they can get your active data anytime that they want. So one of the big things there is just, again, be sure who you're giving your data to. Understand the implications and what that may mean. That's a huge, huge thing. And that was reported on by Kate Cox here back on the 22nd as well. So kudos to her for really bringing that forward, because that's a huge thing. You know, both the ADT and the military intel, these are huge, huge privacy things that really affect us. So those are our 4 main articles we wanted to touch on today. You know, if you enjoyed it, I'll go ahead and put the links to these articles in the description so you can read a little bit more. And as well, I want to just thank you guys for tuning in. You know, if there's any feedback, anything more you want us to cover, anything like that, just drop us a comment, let us know. But again, thank you guys, and this has been Forrest with Applegrad, giving you tech news today. Take care.